And it is gross outside, according to some people that I've talked to here recently. And I get it, too. I mean, we're used to this kind of stuff here in Minnesota where we're going to get a few days a year where the temperatures are just so ungodly hot. Although I think Jim Maurice brought up that last time we had a day of 100 degrees or more would have been in like early 2000s. So it's been a while.
Wow.
Yeah, since we got to 100, which we may or may not get to today. My guests today are Gail Cruikshank. She's the talent director, Greater St. Cloud Development Corporation, and Minnesota State Senator Aric Putnam. Aric and Gail, thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having us, Jay.
And thanks for the weather report, too, because I'm in air conditioning. I don't get the chance to feel all the
You're lucky.
humidity.
You're in a good spot today.
I like the way you put that weather report instead of whining and complaining, because I thought that's what I was doing.
Yeah, well, I mean, we hate it when it's super warm or super cold, which we get a lot of in the winter. And when it gets to be this extreme hot, we don't like that much either. So there's a sweet spot.
Middle ground. Yeah,
I know.
That sweet spot.
The sweet spot is what, 60s, 70s? Low 80s?
Mm-hmm.
Even mid-80s I'm
right.
okay with. I don't complain about 90s either. I know some do, but I'm fine with 90s. It's just when you get close to 100, that gets to be too much for me.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so today we're talking about the Summit Academy, helping support construction hiring needs. Gail, what would you like to say to start this?
Well, thanks, Jay. I just wanted to highlight some great partnerships. And as most people know, GSDC is really focused on trying to bring the right people together in a room to either solve a problem, find a solution to an opportunity. And this is one of them. We've been working with a number of employers in our community, particularly our construction employers, as to how can we create increased awareness, interest, and to those great jobs within construction. We've got a lot of employers in our community that are very engaged in thinking about how can we as a community move this forward. And ultimately, we started with a conversation about how do we get youth more exposure to this career, because of the fact there's some limitations for our 16 to 18-year-olds to actually work on a construction site. How do they get a chance to explore? How do they get a chance to see if this is something that's of interest to them? And our fear is if they don't until they're 18, then they're on to a different career and we've lost them, and with a lot of potential talent in high earnings careers. And so we started having conversations about what other avenues can we look at, what other partnerships we can form. We have been meeting regularly with a number of our legislators to just say, hey, how can you help us? This is what our pain point is. Obviously, as we all talk about, there's lots of jobs on JobSpot on a regular basis right here in the community, to the tune of anywhere from 6,000 to 8,000, and 500 of them or more are construction. And so as we started trying to maybe go down different paths, Senator Putnam has been instrumental in kind of looking for those partnerships, looking for those avenues. And so we, I should say maybe he stumbled on this great partnership through his communications of maybe an opportunity to help employ more in the construction industry, not focus specifically on students in this particular case of under 18, but again, employers that are looking to fill construction jobs and students that are going to school for construction through Summit Academy.
Can you talk about the partnership, Aric?
Sure, absolutely. So, when I first started talking about this sort of change or different way of thinking about labor laws, I wasn't sold. And Gail and I and a bunch of other construction folks had conversations about the best way to increase our construction workforce. And I wasn't immediately convinced, I'm still not fully convinced that means 16-year-olds. So I started thinking, well, there are other people, other populations, other people need jobs. They just need the path from the job to their lives and to their training. And so I'm sitting I serve on the Jobs and Economic Development Committee. I'm sitting there and this presentation happens about Summit Academy. And I kept thinking in the back of my head, this is a really cool program. This is a really neat thing that these folks are doing. And so as a joke during the committee, I said, my one complaint about your proposal is that you didn't ask for enough money to make you move to St. Cloud. And afterwards, the Leroy West, who's the director of the program, came to me afterwards and he said, we've been actually looking to expand. And I thought, this is pretty great. A legislator's job isn't to pass bills, which is pretty good because apparently we can't do that very well. It's to solve problems. And sometimes you do that just by creating relationships and connections. That's the much more important part of the job than what we do in St. Paul.
How can we get young people to take up construction?
Well, there are some existing programs, Youth Build and other programs like that. From my perspective, I think we should invest more heavily in those kinds of things and create more opportunities for those. A lot of, like Youth Build we talked about before, is restricted to folks who are at risk. We need to expand that so it's not just for folks who are at risk. We also need to, I think, invest more in habitat programs and things like that. See, for me, the biggest issue is supervision. We have to find ways to be really intentional about supervision and safety. And it's a complicated question, but I think it's one that, Gail and others who are of great intention really want to do that. The bill that has been going forward to change the child labor laws is not, from my perspective, legitimate legislation. There's no requirement for hours. There's no discussion of the number of hours that a young person could work. There's no requirement that 16-year-olds get paid as much as 18-year-olds. And it's also in violation of federal labor law. So when I saw that, I was like, well, let's think of different ways that we can solve this same problem. And I think that Summit Academy is a great way to do that.
So Summit Academy, just to give a little more information, is they provide a 10-week training program. They're located in the North Minneapolis, but it is half classroom and then half hands-on, where they do all the jobs, responsibility that they would potentially do on a construction site. And then they also have a very established program where then they help place those students. And I will back up to say it's at no cost to those students to attend. They do it all through sponsorship and donations and that sort of thing. So when they come out after that 10 weeks, those folks are placing them in jobs. And where the partnership has started is they're looking to, again, help our St. Cloud employers find employees from this program. So they have a list of some of our key employers that are looking to place, and they're starting to have those conversations with their students. Our employers can go down and go to a job fair that they host to, again, help promote who our companies are and what kind of opportunities are there. They're also looking at relocation assistance, again, to try and encourage folks to maybe come this way. So we think it's a great partnership, and like Aric had shared, their ultimate goal is to become more prominent here. And so maybe we can have a location, a pilot, location here, or, just increase that, engagement, because we have construction folks, employers with a lot of job openings, and we've got job seekers that are interested in those kind of careers.
How well can these individuals get paid?
Extremely well. I mean, it, again, varies by where you are and what you do, but it is a very high-paying industry that, again, a lot of students don't necessarily think about that. And it's not the old, I don't want to pound hammers for my whole 8-hour shift. They're using all the highest technology, just like a lot of our companies are, and it's very creative. It's being, if you see yourself as you want to help design things and you want to help, you have a vision, construction is a great opportunity to do that. And you also have the opportunity to learn a lot of skills that are life skills, that you can use in your own personal life as well as on the job.
Well, anyone who's had construction or any kind of, remodeling done in your home, there's a wait right now because there's kind of a lack of workers, lack of people that want to go and do this. There's a long wait to get individuals in to go and do that work. I suppose, trying to do something like this is going to help solve that issue.
Hopefully, and we also, I think, should acknowledge the incredible investment and energy and conviction of some of the construction partners who are actually stepping up to help with this. So Kevin Johnson and Mike Goman, for example, they don't just want the labor, they're willing to invest in the labor. They're willing to find ways to work with Summit Academy, both in terms of their own time and their own money, to help people develop these skills and to earn these careers. So I think one of the best things about this project is this collaboration between government, nonprofit, and private industry to do things that it's in the best interest of the employees as well as the employers.
So this certainly can help the region and the economy, right?
Mm-hmm. Right. I mean, we've got, again, being selfish, we want to keep our top talent here. And if we can provide them additional opportunities, additional connections, that's going to help. And what's really particularly hopeful for this is maybe we'll gain some people in our community because, again, if they're currently living in the North Metro or someplace around there and they're interested in our community, we're going to gain job seekers and workers, and that's what we really need, is to bring more people to the region, and this might be an opportunity for us to do that.
Right. It's certainly a good opportunity. If people do want to find out more, let's say you're someone that works in construction and you're an employer, or you're someone that wants to get into this field, what should they do?
I would say if it's an employer that wants to learn more about the work that Aric and I are doing with those invested employers, to reach out to Aric or myself directly, and we would love to have you join our work. If you're a job seeker and wanting to be interested in construction careers, certainly go to JobSpot, which you can find at stcloudshines.com. It will link you to all the jobs in our region. Also, there's great educational opportunities. They can go right to Summit Academy's website and see what they do, as well as, our local education institutions here are also offering some educational programs in this area in addition to that.
And, of course, if you want to find all the jobs available in St. Cloud,
stcloudshines.com, where we've got lots of jobs available, as well as job prep tools. So if you're scared about interviewing or scared about how do I write a resume, we got you covered on JobSpot.
Excellent. Thank you both for coming in. I appreciate it.
Sure. Thanks,
Thank you.
That's Gail Cruikshank, Talent Director, Greater St. Cloud Development Corporation, and Minnesota State Senator Aric Putnam.